The Gina and Matty podcast.
Last night, another episode of MAFS, and I tell you what, look, this guy, I really like him. We're about to talk to him. There was some terrible behaviour, once again, surprise, surprise, by Jack.
Yesterday, Tristan didn't want to go down to the pool.
Yeah.
Because he's really body conscious. And so I said, come on, buddy, let's go sit in the pool area just for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. So he went down. I had my shirt off and laying on the concrete. Lucinda was there laying on the other chair. And our favourite guy, Jack, walks in and said, I see the whales are here today.
No, he did not. What?
Yeah, and Timothy calling out bad behaviour later on around the fire as well. Few too many beeps in that one, I reckon, to replay it. But he joins us on the line this morning. Morning, Timothy.
How you doing?
Hey, Timothy.
Great, buddy. Now, can I just clear something up? First off, do you prefer being called Tim?
Tim. Absolutely, Tim. I don't know how he scored my name, but anyway.
yeah. I know. What was going on? There was a rock, paper, scissors game that you lost because...
I didn't even get to play the game. They just lumped me with that one. I felt like I was in trouble every time everyone opened their mouth.
All right. So it's Tim from here on in.
Okay, Tim. We are loving watching you. Love how you stood up for your mate Tristan last night. And Jack, seems like Jack, I think your question was, is he an idiot? No, you said a swear. Is he?
I'm going to clean it up for your radio show. But
okay.
Look, the kid keeps delivering every day. I mean, you can't. That's natural. He's a natural moron all the way.
Plain and simple. Tim, I just want to say, firstly, for a guy who didn't like taking his T-shirt off at the swimming carnivals, I wouldn't participate in swimming carnivals because I didn't like how my body looked. And when I went to the beach with my mates, I'd always wear a shirt as well. What you did last night, calling out that terrible behaviour, because I think men can kind of get pushed to the side when it comes to body issues and body shaming. It becomes maybe a female focus, but it happens for us dudes as well. And calling that out and making that a point on national television was, I commend you for it, bud.
Look, well, thank you, but and it was it's intimidating for me, without saying it. I mean, God, look at that scene walking down the pool. It looked like bloody Love Island, and it was full with enough morons to warrant that show. So, it wasn't the greatest for me, but like I said. Jack's just in his natural habitat with his mouth. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
It's definitely not an act.
No, and I think Jack would have been happy if he, when he walked down the aisle, he married himself on that day.
Jack is Jack's fan, and as you can see, there is no acting. If I hated you on the show, I hate you off the show.
He's very good at apologising. It's like he's quite practised.
Oh, I tell you what, I just watched it, and it's like, I get confused with the way he talks around in circles. So lucky I only had to deal with him, in very small chunks.
Yeah, I think we've wasted enough oxygen on him. Let's talk about you and Lucinda.
Yes.
I think regardless of, we obviously you can't tell us what happens in the future, but regardless of whether or not you guys make it to final vows or you're still together now, I think, would you say meeting Lucinda has been one of the best things that's happened to you?
Me and Lou, I will give you a little bit of a thing. We were out last night, and it's amazing when we go, we find random pubs in the middle of nowhere, how many people actually love Lou. Like, she's just one of the most amazing people I've ever met.
Oh, I got goosebumps. She seems to have, like you seemed like a hard nut to crack originally, but her patience and kindness has cracked you, and we're loving seeing how open and honest you're being. But she does seem like one of the nicest people. We fell in love. We're lucky enough to interview her first, really early on. She was our first, and we felt so lucky. And I said to her, "I love you already," and we didn't see what unfolded. Now that we're all getting to see on the telly, what a gorgeous human she is. Has she changed you? Do you feel different now that you've been hanging out with her?
100%. There's no question. You can't help but soften and just be a better person around Lou. She's amazing, and she's amazing to be around.
Yeah, and you yourself, Tim, like, you might have copped it for slamming your fist on a table, but like, there's been a lot more good than there has anything else. And I think it might have been on yesterday or the day before's episode where you didn't tell the cameraman to get stuffed. You allowed them to stand there and film you in a really raw and emotional state. And I think being super vulnerable, and I think that's probably been the biggest, I said it on the show yesterday, the biggest display of masculinity on Married at First Sight. And the show gets canned for what it is sometimes, but I think that sort of 3 minutes of television that we saw you go through, and obviously it was horrific for you, but watching that as a guy who's got a 7-year-old son and seeing that on primetime television, I think it makes the whole season just worth it, just for that 3 minutes of television.
Well, I really appreciate it. It was it's one of the toughest things I've had to watch, or it's actually it's like your deepest, darkest therapy session, which I go, and then for you to see it back to yourself and then have people and friends texting you it's just, it was tough to watch back, but from the feedback that I've gotten, it's been amazing. Like, it's truly been amazing. Yeah.
Look, we are going to see a pretty explosive night on the telly tonight. Did it just sort of set itself off, or did you have to get involved, or you just sat back and watched?
There's always no harm in throwing a match into a pile every now and again.
Well, we cannot wait to
Grabbing
see
a glass of Pinot and watch the show.
Yeah. We cannot wait to see it, Timothy. Have you got any more ink, just quickly, since the show's finished? Have you got an I Love Lucy tattoo or anything like that?
No, I didn't get the devil tattoo put somewhere like some moron.
Mate, we'll see you on the telly tonight. Cannot wait. Timothy, thank you for your time this morning, buddy.
Thanks very much, guys.
The Gina and Matty Podcast.
For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.